Some of the words being used to describe this movie are disaster, mess, worst comic book movie ever. What we thought about it? 3, 2, 1.
Wait for it.
To call this one of the worst comic book movies ever, to put this in the league of Blade 3, X-Men Origins Wolverine, or Sylvester Stallone's Judge Dredd is insane. This is nowhere near as bad as those films. It is by no means a good film. It is not the worst comic book film ever made. Let's talk about the things that we did like about this movie. For me, first thing I really liked was I enjoyed David Harbour as Hellboy. I thought David Harbour was a really, really good Hellboy. He's not going to replace Ron Perlman for me, but these are two different films, two different portrayals. Del Toro's is a little bit more whimsical, fun. There's more heart involved with it. David Harbour's is a little bit edgier. He portrayed the character very well. I have no complaints with David Harbour. What did you think of David Harbour as Hellboy?
I thought he was good. Like, he was very... I mean, there were some moments where he just kind of seemed nonchalant about everything, but overall, I felt like he was fine. Like, He was good as Hellboy. I was entertained by him. I thought he was funny. I thought he was a little charismatic. So he had a lot of really good attributes that drove the film with him, and I didn't have an issue with him at all.
Yeah. I did like the story, even though the story didn't flow as well as I wanted it to, but the overarching story of the queen being... she's the Blood Queen. She was killed in ancient times. You actually can't kill her. They actually separated her body and buried her in different parts of the world. And then in the current day, someone's trying to dig up all of her body parts, put her back together so she can take over the earth.
I loved the storyline.
Really?
I actually was really intrigued by the storyline. I just didn't think it flowed well. Some parts were a little confusing. It went back and forth, and I wasn't really... it took me a second to, follow. But I love movies and TV shows that revolve around, hunters and hunting for demons, hunting for vampires and demons and all of those things. And that's why I like Supernatural so much, and I like other movies that revolve around that kind of stuff. So for me, the storyline was really actually entertaining for me. I loved the storyline. I just wasn't sure if I would have loved it more if it was portrayed in a little bit of a different way.
Now you mentioned it, it did have sort of a supernatural vibe to it, the movie.
It totally did.
I think that might be one of the things that some people might be turned off by, that it does have a TV-like vibe to it. Even the intro, the black and white intro with the splash of red in it, reminds me of some Supernatural's black and white scenes that they have.
I kind of wouldn't have minded taking this storyline and making it a TV show, like a 10-episode TV show.
I've heard people say that, and I actually think it would be a pretty cool Netflix series. They made this for $50 million. Cool. I think if they gave this a $100 million budget for a 10-episode miniseries, I think would be awesome. I
think it would be a really cool show, especially because there was so much of the story that you could have taken up and broken into, a 10 to 12 episodes.
Yeah, and there's a lot of drama to be mined from Hellboy's character. They try to mine some of the drama there, but there's a lot of stuff that could be parsed throughout a miniseries that could be really fantastic. Some really good moments. His relationship with his dad. They never even touched on the relationship with Liz. Liz isn't even a character in this film. She was in the original two. I think that's one of the things they tried to do to separate it from the Del Toro films. They swapped out some of the characters. Abe Sapien's not in this. Abe Sapien's character in the original films.
Yeah.
For a film that was made for $50 million, I actually felt like the special effects were pretty good.
I thought the special effects were fine. The only thing that I felt was a little bit off-putting with the special effects was when the medium would touch the dead person's body. And then, she had this whole...
Oh, yeah. That effect wasn't that great.
That was the only one where I was like, Other than that, it was good. End,
the very last one that she did.
The very last one was really bad.
Yeah, it did not look good.
I was like,
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
That was cool, though. I really liked the medium. I mean, as far as, I didn't care for her portrayal of the medium quite as much as I would have liked, but I liked that there was a medium in the storyline.
Mm-hmm. I really did like the other side character. I can't remember his name, but he turns into the leopard monster.
I don't remember his name either. He was really cool. I wish I had more of him. He was only in the end, and I was like, you would have been cool the whole time.
Now, this brings me to the stuff that I think I start to have problems with this movie. So you mentioned that we didn't get his transformation until the end of the film, and he only goes through his transformation once.
Twice.
Well, he does it. He does it again at the right before the credits scene. But part of my issue, the first thing that I would say that the film falters on, is that the two side characters that actually liven up the movie a lot for me don't come until we're already 3 or 4 action beats into the film.
Yeah.
So by the time we meet the girl and the new partner, Hellboy's already had his intro where he loses his partner. We've had a flashback scene where we're introduced to Hellboy when he comes into the world. We have Hellboy fighting giants. Then we have Hellboy meeting his 2 new partners that are going to go on this quest to stop the Blood Queen with them. And then by that time, it was almost too late. I wanted them to come in at the second beat, and that we probably should have been introduced to the one character's transformation a little earlier than we were. We knew that something had happened. We knew that he has something that he's hiding. I feel like that would have been something that could have been introduced a little earlier in the film, because it is an exciting transformation. I actually thought that was pretty awesome.
Yeah. I don't see films like that. I don't break them up in my head like that. So, like, for me, if they had come up early, I don't think it would have made a difference, because his transformation was still too late.
So
the medium, I would have liked to see more of the medium, but I felt like she was there pretty early I actually thought the medium was there pretty early.
Besides those characters coming in later, this feels like a film that was made by a committee. It doesn't feel like it was one person that went in and had their vision saw. I felt like the director made his movie, did his cut, and then another person did a cut, and then another person did a cut after that.
And I think that's where it becomes a little flaky, because sometimes in movies, if there's too many people who have a say, it just becomes a hot mess. Like, wasn't Justice League like that?
Yeah.
Like, Justice League was horrible. I mean, Justice League was bad.
Yeah.
Not a fan. I mean, I thought Hellboy was better than Justice League.
Yeah, I actually think I enjoyed Hellboy more than Justice League.
Hellboy was a hot mess. I mean, Justice League was a hot mess. And that, I think that had a lot to do with, when I remember reading about that one, is that so many people were having a different say, and there were so many components, and the actresses and actors in the movie were having a say, that it just becomes almost too much. Like, if you have any of the great, movies that have one director that has, it's all his say. I mean, James Gunn is a great director, and he has all of the say.
Yeah, he pretty much
I mean, his movies are fantastic.
Yeah, and Hellboy suffers from that. I can tell when I'm watching, I can tell a scene that was 100% Neil Marshall, the director of the film. And then when I'm watching another scene, I'm like, oh, a producer got in here and did something with this. So, for instance, a Neil Marshall scene for me is the Baba Yaga scene. He's in the house, it's foggy, it's really creepy. There's some jump scares. There's some jump scares in there. There's good orchestral music. It actually hits some very good beats. Mm-hmm. And then when I get a scene like
the ogre scene, the
giants, I feel like that was a scene put together by producers.
Well, I
feel like they're like, yeah, this is too long. We need to make cuts here, here, here. Oh, let's throw a heavy metal song in there.
Well, the music was ridiculous.
Yeah, I wasn't into the music.
The heavy metal music just put me out of the film.
Yeah, and then the other thing is that the transitions from going from scene to scene are all stitched together with rock songs. And it dates films. I mean, I've always say this whenever movies do this. I hate it when movies use popular pop music or things like that. At least here they try to obscure it a little bit with doing like covers of other songs, I believe is what they were doing. Or they use like the instrumental of rock songs.
I never really understood what you were saying about how movies are dated with music, but then when I see movies from like 2000 that use the music from 2000, I was like, oh, this movie's really old, but really it's only like 10 years old.
Yeah. So
like I get that. I guess longer than 10 years now.
Aquaman did something similar in its movie, but it just did it once, or maybe it did it twice, but there
were a couple of songs that you didn't like.
There was one particular scene when Aquaman comes out of the ocean and they're looking for I believe they're looking for the trident, and then like this Pitbull song comes on that's transitioning us from them going from underwater to them going to the island, and then there's another Depeche Mode song that is the montage of Black Manta putting the suit together. Imagine that, but throughout the whole film. Every single scene is stitched together like that.
Every single beat. And that's what's going to make it not want me to go back and watch it again.
It really took me out. The transitions are super awkward. The music doesn't fit the character. I really like the orchestral score. And I wish they would have kept that throughout the whole film and just dropped the rock music. But again, that's part of what I feel like this movie is put together by a committee and not just one singular vision. So that is the other part of this film that really bothered me, and the fact that it feels like none of it really does flow. That's where part of also feels like it's made by committee. And there is a sort of a lot of stuff that does not transition smoothly that makes the film feel wooden and stiff.
Very rocky.
Yeah. So
very bumpy. It's a bumpy road.
So those are the things that I disliked about the film. And unfortunately, the things I disliked pretty much carry out from the beginning to the end. But the good stuff, I feel, is good enough to warrant, at least give this film a shot. I don't think it's a good film. I don't think it's a bad film. It's there. It's a... One of the things I've seen describe this film is that, is it a good film? No. Did I have a hell of a lot of fun with it? Yes. I think that's a good way to categorize this film.
That is kind of a good way. I mean, it wasn't a good film, but it was enjoyable at parts.
Yeah, I have a buddy at my work that he says if there's a film that isn't getting good reviews, but it looks like it could be a fun film, he likes to go to the bar with his friends before they go see the movie. They'll have some drinks. They'll go see the movie. They'll go to the bar at the theater, get some beer, drinks, and then they'll see the film with a buzz. And they'll be like, oh yeah, that was such a good film to see with like my friends while drinking. And like, that's Hellboy.
But like, I thought, okay, so reading everything about Hellboy, I thought it was going to be a laugh out loud horrible movie. But like, I still don't think that you going buzz is going to change it for me.
No, but you can still like have a good time.
Oh, you could still have a good time with it.
You go have some drinks, watch this, and be like, oh yeah. And then you'll literally forget it the next day. You'll just remember it as a night out with the dudes. Or the girls.
I'd go see this with the girls. We'd have fun with it.
But
we probably wouldn't make it out of the bar, though. I don't know if we'd make it there. We'd be like, forget it. Let's just get some appetizer and some more drinks. Like, I don't think we'd get there.
This is one of those movies like, see, having a drinking game. Every time you hear a rock song play, you got to take a shot. You'll be,
no, maybe like a sip.
Yeah, you'll be done pretty quick.
No, let's stick with like sips with this one.
Yeah.
If we ever have people over for a movie night and we play this and we have drinking games around it, just have a sip.
One thing I will give it credit for is that even though I hate the use of pop songs and rock songs in movies, they did from time to time try to make the stuff practical within the scene. So like you'll hear the song start playing, it's blasting through the speakers, and then we're actually in the scene and it's coming through the speakers of a car or something. I do like it when movies do that. That is a nice way of incorporating rock and pop songs into your movie that's not grating. It's just where we're at with comic book films. A movie like Hellboy, it's just not going to cut it. I think that's why it's getting overly trashed.
You know what? I have to agree with that. I guess I didn't put that into perspective. We're getting such good comic book movies that this one just is going to slide under the radar.
When we're getting films like Infinity War, Black Panther, Shazam, Aquaman,
Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
When these things are being taken with such seriousness from its creators, from the people making these movies, a movie like Hellboy is just not gonna cut it with today's critics and audiences. Yeah. And I think that's his biggest downfall. We're just in a point where comic book films are like, honestly just way too good of films for a film like Hellboy to really exist in the manner that it exists right now.
No, I agree. I guess I didn't think of it like that. All right, well.
So, all right.
That's all I have to say after we said that 5 minutes ago.
Yep. Okay. So, I have no idea what comes out next week. I don't know if anything comes out next week.
I don't know. We will come back next time and you will find out what we see.
Something will come out next week. We'll see something. I think everyone's just counting down the weeks till Endgame.
I'm so excited for it. I'm so happy I have my spring break during Endgame.
Yep. I took my vacation days.
We are very cool people. You're taking off work just to go see Endgame.
It's not just to see Endgame. I took 3 days.
I know you took 3 days, but like, let's be real. You took it for Endgame. You did not take it to spend time with me. That's just like sprinkles on the cupcake. You really just wanted to see Endgame.
Well, that is part of it, but you're
not saying no.
So,
I know, right. I'm just kidding.
I have no idea what comes out next week. Something comes out. I'm sure we'll see something. But we'll be back here next weekend. And I think is Endgame 2 weeks from now?
Yeah, well, yeah, because...
Or is it 3 weeks?
I have Friday off, so...
All right. Well,
So,
anyways,
it's almost here. It's almost here.
thank you for watching. Like and subscribe if you like this video. We've got more coming. And if you are interested, check out our Shazam review. We did that a couple of weeks ago. We saw an early screening of that. So that is up on the channel.
That's a fun one. That was a fun show.
Shazam was awesome. So anyways, like and subscribe if you like this video. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. See you next time, guys.